Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is shaving a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After 37 unforgettable years that reshaped daytime television, the Forrester mansion fell into a silence no one had ever imagined. A hush that felt like history itself holding its breath because everyone, every cast member, every crew member, every fan who had grown up watching Brooke Logan triumph, fall, rise again, love too deeply, fight too fiercely, and survive more heartbreaks than most characters experience in a lifetime, knew that the moment had officially come. Katherine Kelly Lang, the heartbeat of the bold and the beautiful, was leaving the show. And as the news rippled across the set like ashquave breaking through the walls, Ridge, Taylor, Eric, Steffi, Hope, Liam, Donna, and even characters who were hardly connected to Brooke's storyline felt the weight of the announcement in a way that felt personal, devastating, and earth-shifting. Because Brooke wasn't just a character, she was legacy, identity, continuity. She was the thread that touched every era of B&B. And now Katherine was preparing for her final scene. The one that had already left producers, co-stars, and even the director wiping their eyes as they rehearsed, knowing that once the cameras rolled, something sacred would be ending forever. The set was transformed into an emotional war zone. Wardrobe assistants clutched Brooke's iconic dresses with trembling hands. Makeup artists found themselves stopping mid-stroke because their eyes blurred with tears, and cast members hovered in corners whispering memories of the first times they'd worked with her. Their voices thick, their hearts heavy, their words filled with admiration for the actress whose charisma shaped not just the character, but the entire DNA of the show. Katherine walked through the hallways slowly, touching props she had passed 1,000 times before. The picture frames in Brooke's office, the banisters she leaned on during confrontations with Taylor, the couch where she'd cried over Ridge, Bill, Deacon, and countless family dramas that cemented Brooke as daytime royalty. Each touch triggering a flash of her long journey, and she realized that leaving felt like walking into the unknown. After spending nearly 4 decades in a world she helped build. When she entered the main Forrester living room set for the final time, everyone stood silently. And it wasn't Brooke walking in. It was Katherine. Calm, emotional, graceful, luminous in a way only someone who had carried a show on her shoulders for decades could be. The director whispered, "Final scene." And everyone felt their throats tighten because Brooke was about to say the words that would echo through the soap world forever. Ridge stepped forward, not as Torsten K., but as a man losing a scene partner who had defined his career. And Taylor moved beside him, her eyes soft, her voice barely steady as she prepared to say goodbye not to a character, but to a friend, the person who had stood across from her through decades of rivalry, reconciliation, and reinvention. The scene began with Brooke admitting that she needed a new chapter, that life had pushed her toward a horizon she never expected, that she had given everything to this world. Forrester Creations, her family, her loves. But now she needed to rediscover who she was outside of Los Angeles. As Katherine spoke the dialogue, the emotional realism was so potent the cameras could barely capture it. Her voice cracked in places that weren't scripted. Her smile wavered with sincerity instead of Brooke's usual resilience. And even the quiet breath she took between sentences felt heavy, lived in, and heartbreaking because everyone watching knew these weren't just Brooke Logan's final words. They were Katherine Kelly Lang's final farewell to a life she had poured her heart into. Hope broke down mid-scene, unable to hold back tears as she held on to Brooke. And even though the script called for a calm, gentle goodbye, the raw affection between Anukika, Noel, and Katherine took over, turning the moment into something deeper, something real, mother and daughter hugging in a way that felt final. Donna joined them, her voice failing as she whispered, "Yot sant go." And Katherine, staying perfectly in character, yet undeniably herself, simply answered, "It's time." Eric stepped forward next, and John McCook's eyes glistened with memory stretching all the way back to 1987, the early days when he and Katherine were building characters who would become television icons. He didn't even attempt to hide the tremble in his voice as he placed a hand on Brooke's cheek, calling her Logan the way only Eric could, and viewers knew instantly that this would be one of the most replayed scenes in soap history. Ridge then approached with the final scripted line off the show's day. "Brooke, wherever you go, "You will always be the love of my life." But when the words left him, they carried decades of layered emotion. Every wedding, every betrayal, every reunion, every time Ridge chose her, and every time he didn't. And this time, the meaning reached beyond storyline and into something profoundly real. Torsten was saying goodbye to Katherine. The director called cut, but no one moved. Instead, the entire cast encircled her, tears streaming, hands reaching, hearts breaking, because the moment they feared most, her final goodbye was here. Katherine laughed softly through her own tears as she opened her arms, immediately wrapped in a group embrace so tight, so loving, it made even the crew cry. And when she finally stepped back, she looked at each of them with the warmth and wisdom only someone who had lived through 37 years of storylines, scandals, triumphs, and cultural impact could express. "Thank you," she said simply, quietly, powerfully, and instantly. Every soundstage light seemed to dim. Every fan watching from afar felt something shift, and every cast member felt the bittersweet gravity of the moment. Ash walked out of the studio for the final time. The cast lined up along the hallways applauding her, cheering her name, celebrating a legacy unmatched in daytime history. Not the end of Brooke Logan because characters can always return, but the end of Katherine Kelly Lang's era, an era defined by passion, dedication, heart, and a connection with fans that transcended generations. Outside in the California sun, she paused, looking back at the building where she had spent more years than anywhere else in her life, and she whispered a soft goodbye, not in sadness, but with profound gratitude, because she knew she wasn't just leaving a show. She was leaving behind a legacy, a family, a story that belonged to millions. And as the cast inside continued to cry, laugh, and share memories of their favorite Brooke moments, the marriages, the scandals, the legendary confrontations, everyone understood that BNB would never be the same. That the heart of the show had changed forever, and the soap world would feel this departure for years to come. Because Katherine Kelly Lang